Billy Guns, my longtime friend. What's up, brother? What's going on, man? Good to see you on here. Jack is here. Want to see him? Hold on. There he is. He loves to watch his dad. He loves to just wait outside the room. He's so cute. He's an old man now. He's an old man, but he still thinks he's a puppy. Sway Garcia, good morning. Man, it's chilly out here in Florida. I was just out there walking the dogs, and it's cold, man. People got jackets on and stuff. I mean, I don't need a jacket, but people do have jackets on down here in Florida. Al, what up, sir? 21 in North Carolina. That's too cold. That is absolutely too cold. Melanie says it's damn cold. Melanie, what are you doing in this cold? What are you doing in this cold? So it's Wednesday. I was just talking to Marissa. Give you guys a pregnant wife update. So we're 25 weeks pregnant. She's doing great, but she got pretty sick. I was actually very concerned. She's very strong. She has a ridiculously strong immune system. Very, very strong. She's a tough girl, but she was coughing like crazy. Started last week in the middle of the week. And Friday, she was like, if I'm not better after resting this weekend, I think I should go to urgent care. And as soon as she said that, I was like, listen, Billy Gagliardo told me that they have a service now that acts like urgent care that will go right to your house. And our insurance, you just pay the copay on it. Actually, Billy told me with his insurance, which is the same as ours, he's already like blown through his deductible, so he didn't even have to pay, which is nuts. So listen, guys, if you guys get sick, I don't know if they offer this in other states, but down here in Florida, Saturday she got on there, took her a couple of minutes to just, boop, 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 plug it in. She said, what time should I make an appointment? I said, I don't know, you want to shower, do that, whatever? She said, yeah, I want to take a shower. I'm going to make it for 2 o'clock. Love you, Billy. Good to see you on here. Let's talk more soon. Hey, thank you for that heads up yesterday, Billy. So, good morning, everyone. Mass Peanut, yes, I'm into reptiles. Listen, guys, Nate, what up? You guys got to listen to this because I'm really, really impressed by this. Vegas in the house. So listen, she made the appointment for 2 o'clock. 1:55, 1:56, there's a knock on the door. And nurse shows up at the door. And, she's in her scrubs, ready to rock. Comes on up. What up, Nathan? She's got a little iPad. They start doing a little question and answer. And next thing you know, she's like, all right, I'm gonna FaceTime the doctor now. Boom. The iPad goes up. Doctor comes on. They start talking. She said, let's have a listen to your lungs. They take this little machine, put it on her chest. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Let's listen to your heart. Okay, let's listen from the back, ba-da-da. And I'm like, wow. And you can see it all on the screen, super high tech, like some Matrix shit. And then she's like, let's take a look at that throat. Opens up her mouth, says, they have a little camera that goes out, goes into your mouth, and you can see down there, I'm talking 5K resolution, whatever. Doctor runs through it. She's like, okay, we're going to call you in a script for azithromycin. I'm gonna give you some natural remedies because you can't really take Mucinex or all these other things when you're pregnant for the cough. They went through all that. Bang, bang, boop. Out the door. The only thing that we had to do was go and pick up the prescription. So I will tell you guys, I will literally never go to urgent care ever again. I will never go to urgent care or anything like that ever again. Billy told me, because he was very sick, he had the flu, They were like, you're really dehydrated. They gave him an IV of fluids. They have all that out in the car. And I guess they started doing this during COVID. What a tremendous service to offer. I'm very impressed with it. Anyway, she's doing much better today. I still love reptiles. Mass Peanut, I don't have the collection anymore, but I still love them. Melanie's crying from the cold. Come on, Melanie, don't cry. Don't you cry tonight. I still love you, baby. Well, let's see. Well, speak to me, warriors. Bolshoi Kush, my friend, is here. So what do you guys got me going on for me today? We got questions. Let's see here. Since there's no Formula 19, what would you recommend for post-workout carb product? Right now, I just do 50 grams of carbs from Nerds Cluster Gummies. So it has become very popular these days to just do the straight sugar stuff. Whether it's sour gummies, nerds, whatever. And I want you guys to know this is not new. In fact, 25 years ago, I tried, and this is, I'm not making this up, I tried doing Coca-Cola and whey protein after my workouts back in the day. Get that straight sugar in you with the Coca-Cola. Who doesn't love a nice Coca-Cola? You're gonna burp a little bit after. So, I really enjoy the Carbolin, which is much different than dextrose. I feel like Carbolin, there's a product called Carbolic. You know, that's where we designed the Formula 19. So if you're looking for just a straight carb source, my problem with Vitargo is Vitargo just doesn't mix. You have to have like a magic bullet for it. But you know, if you're gonna spend some money, I really enjoy the Carbolin or Carbolic. And then you can buy all the other stuff. Listen, Blackstone's gonna have creatine and glutamine again. You know, if you don't get it from Blackstone, I get it from High Tech. You know, I always say, you know, it's family. You know, but if you're just doing a fast digesting carbohydrate, now people are doing straight dextrose again. Which, if you go back another 20 years, again, like I said, early 99, 2000 time period or so, the Cell-Tech, the original Cell-Tech, was just a straight blast of sugar. The problem with that dextrose is I find that if you don't eat an actual meal with something substantial and complex after, your blood sugar crashes very bad. I don't know, has any of you guys noticed that? Have you ever done your post-workout and you're blasting that sugar source in? If you don't eat fast enough, have you noticed that bad crash after? I mean, that is not ideal. Or optimal, as we say in today's terms. Doctor, give me the news. What else we got here? Would have you answer these questions while you do HIIT cardio. Make it a real challenge. Oh man, I don't think I could do it. That's part of the reason why I do this slow stroll. Can you imagine me? I don't think so. Ozzy turned 76 today. God bless. God bless him. He's still going strong. Voice is still on point. Melanie says, hey, if it shuttles it in the right way, that's a runner thing too. Never thought to add protein. Brilliant. Listen, my buddy, who's a triathlete, back when they had all of these fancy goos and shit that the runners would eat, he used to carry in his fanny pack fucking chocolate chip cookies. And I was like, chocolate chip cookies? And he was like, yeah, I hate those goos, they're gross, and I don't like most energy bars. He's like, I like cookies. It gets in fast, doesn't slow me down. I was like, whatever works, man. And the guy was a friggin' phenom. Ripped up, absolute beast. Swam, run, biked, did it all on point. So, hey, who's gonna tell him not to do that anymore? So, the reason that the interesting thing with these powdered carbohydrate choices, right? You've got highly brand cyclic dextrin, which really Gaspari was the first company to really make that big. Now, personally, I didn't really like highly brand cyclic dextrin as much because, I don't know, I just felt like it made my stomach feel a little bit weird. But these carb sources, Waxy Maize was another one that was really pushed hard, which I'm not the biggest fan of either. These carb sources were advertised to bypass the gut digestion process and just get right into the bloodstream. So they're getting into the bloodstream actually faster than dextrose. That was the advantage of these things. But listen, dextrose is very fast. So, you know, if the desire to replenish the stores is as fast as possible, this is where these other sources of powdered carbohydrates were starting to come into play. Mass Peanut says, I went down a rabbit hole of watching old videos last night and saw some that had an old employees like Trevor, the social media guy. And Greg, I think I do speak with any of those. So, from the very beginning, the OG days, right? One of the OG employees, if not maybe the most OG employee, is Trevor, because in the very beginning, you guys remember, we had a guy named Hilton McCullough who started One Up Nutrition. He was my first actual employee ever. We had a guy in shipping named Def Sean. Shout out to Def Sean, wherever he is. He was there in the very beginning. A couple other guys that are long gone now. We had a guy named Louis Maldonado in the very beginning, one of our first sales guys. And the first two full-time IT guys were David and Thomas. David is the guy that essentially sent me to prison. So me and him don't talk. I don't wish him any ill will. I have no desire to be friends with him. I'd love to have a conversation with him on what made him do that. After, you know, Blackstone Labs paid all his legal fees, did everything, he was definitely not going to go to jail. I'm so curious of that because it came down to, you know, his personal interest versus our friendship, which to me, he was my best friend. Like, Aaron was my best friend for years. You know, when Aaron and I split up, David and I we bonded. I loved David like a brother, so I'd love to have a sit down with him about all that. But of those original cast, Trevor's the most OG. Billy Gagliardo's been with the company about 7 or 8 years. So has Teresa. Stefan, I think, has been with the company for 9 years in shipping. Stefan, if you guys know Stefan, he's not in the videos all that often. Big guy in shipping. They did a little series with Coach K with him. He's still there in shipping. But then, you know, as far as the sales guys over the years, you know, Chris Evangelista with Prime passed away, sad. Sammy is over at Sport Life. Corey's over at Sport Life. Some of the other guys, I have no idea where they went. Every now and then I do hear from Louis Maldonado. But, yeah, Trevor's the most OG, and Trevor actually came back when I got out of prison. He wanted to help the brand. He loved the brand. We love Trevor. So I'm glad he's there. Mark Dog, good morning. Nobody, good morning. Does my protocol have nandrolone in it? I do not like nandrolone. And I'm not going to bash it because it is a very good and strong anabolic steroid. But personally, there's two things that I don't like about nandrolone. Number one is the Decadic. There's a certain dosage for everyone that's different. Some guys, man, they're as sensitive as like 200 milligrams a week. Some guys can run 600 milligrams a week, which is a lot. For me, I had to keep it around 300 milligrams a week, which is a solid amount. But listen, when you're trying to really put size on and whatnot, you're taking these anabolics, to me, it's not even worth messing around with 100 milligrams a week. You know, so you're better off just staying off and bumping your test up 100 milligrams if that's the case. Some guys feel that they can do a low dose, their joints feel good and this and that. I don't know. I've beaten myself up so bad over the years, my joints never feel good. So I do not like the Decadic effect. I don't like anything that affects my penis. Hell no, absolutely not. Now, you got two different schools of thought when it comes to things that affect your penis, right? You can take the Cialis, Viagra, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Or you can just accept it. To me, I was like, well, I'm taking Cialis and stuff. I'm not having anything affect my penis. But there was a couple of times, girl that I was with for years on Deca, I'm sorry, it's just not working the right way, instantly goes into, you're not attracted to me, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, oh my God, no guy wants to deal with that. Now, sometimes you get in a situation where you have the kind of jealous type of girls that are instantly like, well, you must be cheating on me. Also, no guy wants to deal with that either, right? So, Decadic is a strange phenomenon where you actually still can have sex. But you're like, you know, you're only at like 3/4 where you're supposed to be, and it becomes extremely difficult to actually achieve an orgasm, which is terrible. So for me, the fact that it was doing that to me and made me hold water that I didn't necessarily care for, I didn't like it because I got great results on equipoise without that. Now, I will tell you this, guys. We'll jump right into this one here. Good morning, Dom. Good morning, guys. Nandrolone phenylpropionate. We didn't have this when I was competing. And if we did, no one talked about it. NPP. The early 2000s, I didn't hear anyone talk about NPP. NPP, you could blast it and it works fast. I ran a couple cycles of it after I retired. And what you can achieve in a month is phenomenal how fast it cooks in. So for me personally, if I have the opportunity to go NPP, if I'm young, I'm bodybuilding, I'm trying to go all out, and you know, I'm tossing around the ideas of things like equipoise and trenbolone and other things to add into your common test cycle, NPP is one that I will give the 2 thumbs up to. And honestly, it's in and out fast. So if you do get any kind of Deca style, you know, Decadic effect on it, you can pull it all out. Let's see. How is everybody else doing on here? I appreciate you asking. Nobody. Now, my full protocol right now, Nate, is 100 milligrams of testosterone depot, which is Cypionate, 3 times a week, every other day. So 300 milligrams a week. That's a nice solid dose. My blood work's been good for a while. I'm now doing 3 units of Serostim before bed. Holla! I was doing 2 for a while. Gotta love that Serostim. Now, listen, if you can get the genotropin pens, woo! That's a whole nother story. But you see, Serostim is the most common, really, in bodybuilding. My doctor had this stuff called Zomatomax. I wasn't impressed with it. Too much money also. Too much money. So right now it's 300 mg a test, 3 units of GH. I'm also going cray-cray with the BPC 157 and TB 500 because I'm hurting. I always seem to be hurting and I don't want to slow down. But I'll tell you, when I got out of prison, once I got into the house after the halfway house, I started a pregnancy protocol, which I've talked about here on YouTube, to make sure that we could have a baby, which we're on the way to that now. Jack, what? Oh my God, Jack. Look at this baby. Hold on. This is what he does the entire time that I'm on here. Watch. What, Jack? What is it? Just creeping because he loves his dad. It's always staring. Dire Straits, Money for Nothing, or Billy Idol, Rebel Yell. Ooh, man. Man, you got some tough ones. So the video for Money for Nothing was truly innovation at its finest for music videos. If you guys remember the Money for Nothing video, but Rebel Yell is more of my jam. I think in another life I might have been Billy Idol. With a rebel yell, she wants more, 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 more. Didn't phase Jack at all. Favorite WWE or WCW entrance? Not the song. The breaking glass, the shattering glass, and Stone Cold Steve Austin sprinting out. I got fired up to that every time. I also really liked when Hulk Hogan turned heel and he was Hollywood Hulk Hogan with the NWO. When he came out like air guitaring and just with the black colored beard, bad guy, I got such a kick out of that. I love that. I actually love that version of Hulk Hogan. So Breaking Glass, bad Hulk Hogan. There was a WrestleMania one year, guys, that the WrestleMania that I always remember, and it's an old one, but Undertaker came out. They had all the monks in the cloaks lined up all the way through. If you guys remember, the old school wrestling fans will come out to that one, and his music was going. They had all the things like this. He walked through all the monks. That was a badass entrance. Tom, how you living, sir? Do I have any gay employees at the moment? Well, as far as openly gay, no. We got one that in my head I question a little bit sometimes. I've asked her if she's a lesbian. She says no. But over the years, have we? Yes. Currently, no. Currently, no. Am I gay? Why? Do you support LGBTQIA? So I am not gay. Do I support LGBTQ? Sure. I support everybody. I love everybody. You won't see me at a BLM march, that's for sure. And I think a lot of this tranny shit in schools is crazy. But do I have trans people that I've become friends with over the years? Sure. But I'm not affiliated with any sort of group. I'll tell you that I support the Conservative Party, not the Democratic Party. However, there are certain things about me that align with other groups that maybe some conservatives wouldn't like. Uh, Terry shot you down, Bolshoi. Aren't you sick and tired that all bodybuilders these days pose on rap and R&B music so all the routines look the same? This year, C-Bum posed on Heart. What About Love Song was so unique. A really great song, man. Really great song. I do not like watching. I really can't stand bodybuilders posing to R&B. I don't, especially sexy R&B. I think it's weird as hell. You know, listen, your posing song is a personal thing, so I'm not going to go and critique somebody's personal position on something because they may open up and share it to me and I might be like, oh man, that's really beautiful. So I think it's very boring to watch a big jacked guy pose to R&B music. It's a love song maybe, and it's their thing for their wife, whatever, I don't know. I would much rather like intense music. I really enjoyed a lot of what Arnold did with this intense classical music. I actually did that before. I typically pose to more aggressive rock songs, but not everybody likes rock music, man. Music is a personal thing. Listen, guys, I've posed to Godsmack, Kid Rock, who else have I posed to? Godsmack, Kid Rock, Metallica. I posted a Hate Breed at a show. That didn't really go over too well. Wouldn't recommend that. The judges were like, I posed to the Carl Orff Symphony. I mean, but I liked that intense style of music. That's a lot with my personality. So, when you say about a lot of routines being rap and R&B, well, there's a lot of, let's just call it how it is, there's a lot more black bodybuilders that are good. Every now and then I meet a black bodybuilder that likes metal, and I'm like, whoa, that's cool. But that's why you don't really see that much rock music. Who poses to the rock music? The big German and Russian guys from other countries, you know what I mean? It's just, I think it's more of a cultural and personal thing. The Hives hate, told you so, or Weezer, hash pipe. I got my hash pipe. Probably Weezer. Weezer had a couple songs that kind of resonate with me, that high school era, If you want to destroy my sweater. That was a good one. Those old high school days. How close is Equipoise? Short answer, not close at all. But long answer, as far as the results you can get, similar. So they're both anabolic steroids. They both have a slightly androgenic property to them also. Now, Equipoise, I really liked. Couple things with Equipoise. I found you can run a higher dose of it, milligram for milligram, than Deca without the same negative side effects. So let's put it like this. If I ran 600 milligrams of Deca, I would be very watery and I would have Deca dick. Yes, it would make me strong and help me put on muscle. These are my own personal experiences, guys. Where Equipoise, on the other hand, first of all, Equipoise off season, I loved because I found it made me ravenously hungry. Also, the pumps on Equipoise, I loved it. The EQ will elevate your hematocrit some more than the Deca, but again, you're really talking about like where you're at with doses. So I have run as much as 800 milligrams a week of Equipoise and kicked ass with it. So, when we look at where the protocols are, back in my day, it was really common to be at a 2-to-1 ratio with your testosterone to whatever you were adding in, right? So if you were running 600 mgs of testosterone, you'd run 300 mgs of Deca. That was kind of like the old school breakdown. Now guys are really all just about total milligrams, and they'll say, I'm running 2 grams a week But it's, 400 milligrams of test, 700 milligrams of Masteron, whatever else they want to do. So I don't think that you need to I see a lot of guys that have gotten like really creative with their cycles and the combinations of things. Well, I'm doing this for my joints, and this is the anabolic, and this is... Personally, I think the more simple you do it, the better, because then it's very easy to gauge what you're responding to. How can you know, unless you've done many cycles, that you respond better to this unless you haven't tested it yourself personally? So, guys, as I got farther along in bodybuilding, the amount of testosterone that I would run in my off season crept up. It started at 500, then it was 600, then it was 750. Then for a while, I'd run 1,000 milligrams of testosterone a week, rocking and rolling at that dose. And eventually, I even got up to 1,500 milligrams. Woo! And then for one short period, but with nothing else with it, I tried 2,000 milligrams of test. That's a lot. That was the most I ever did. I only ran that for a short period of time. And the crazy thing is, at 2,000 milligrams of testosterone, I couldn't keep weight on. It was like my metabolism was too fast. But I tried all these things in different phases. Back then, I usually ran 8 to 12 week cycles and took notes of everything to see how things would work. So now, me doing 300 milligrams of testosterone is that's a little drop in the bucket of what I used to do. And the crazy thing is, what I was doing back then was not that much compared to most of my buddies. So, I know I got a little off tangent there, Robert, but I prefer equipoise to Deca. A lot of guys love Deca. But I personally never got the joint lubrication is the bro sciencey thing that was thrown out about it. I never got any of that effect from it. Listen, I have a buddy. My buddy is a doctor. He runs 100 milligrams of Deca a week, year round. Just 100 milligrams of Deca. It doesn't negatively affect his blood work. He's a doctor. He checks himself out. He doesn't get Deca dick. It's only 100 milligrams. And he says it makes his joints feel better. More power to him, What's your opinion on oral BPC 157? So I ran oral BPC 157 for literally months and months. And what I noticed from it is I think it absolutely enhanced my gut health. But if we're talking about injury recovery, I don't think it works. I took 1,500 micrograms actually for a while. Oral, I've still been getting hurt, all these things, no different than I was before. I think to get the benefit as far as soft tissue repair, recovery, and from inflammation of these things, that you need to do them injectable. PJ, how do you modulate cardio when getting lean? Do you just add as needed on lifting days or only on non-lifting days? So the way that I did this with my athletes was very, very different over the years. Very different. Myself, what I normally did was 6 days a week of cardio when I was at my most. And yes, there would be a period where I would go to 7. But the most I was really doing was 6 days, because even if I had an off day from the gym, I typically didn't do cardio on leg days because I did crazy leg days. And I wanted my legs to be prepared. Now, there were periods in contest prep where perhaps I did the bike hit for 15, 20 minutes on those leg days, or some stairs. But typically, like where I'm at now, right? If I'm looking for a consistent benefit to cardio, I'm doing cardio 5 days a week. Now, I'm not doing cardio on the weekends. I would benefit from doing cardio on the weekends. And if I want to start pushing it more, I'm going to have to either adjust my diet more or throw in some more cardio on the weekends. But I haven't decided to go that route yet. So I think it's great if you blast the shit out of your legs that you can avoid cardio on leg day. And I think that it's really great to have a true rest day. And on that day, look, if you want to do some mild stuff for circulation, sure. On Sunday, I truly rest. Now, look, these things are all different based on your goals. If you're trying to hit a certain goal in a certain amount of time, then yeah, you're going to start out. You don't jump the gun and say, okay, I want to get ripped as fast as I can, so I'm just going to do an hour of cardio right out the gate, because you might respond tremendously well to 20 minutes of cardio. Also, if you're doing HIIT cardio versus steady state cardio, this also affects how much cardio you need to do. There was a year, guys, this sounds really silly, in my 20s where I stayed in awesome shape because I was playing basketball 5 days a week. And I wasn't running around like Kobe Bryant, you know what I mean? I was, popping fucking threes and trying to grab rebounds, Dennis Rodman style. I wasn't playing point guard. But the short bursts of energy acted sort of like HIIT cardio. I sweat a lot when I did it. And I stayed very, very lean. I was in my early 20s, of course, but today, Wednesday, a rest day from the gym, I typically do the most cardio today. And I find that it benefits me because it keeps my circulation going, helps my digestion move along. What do you think of MK677 peptide? I repaired my shoulder using BBC 157. So MK677, I personally do not use it because I'm already on growth hormone and I just don't see the point of adding any extra in when I could just increase the growth hormone. Now, if you don't have access to growth hormone at all, you can get great GH releasing effects from MK677. Now, MK677 is also, if you use it in the morning, guys who have a hard time eating and putting on weight, man, that will help stimulate your appetite. It'll make you hungry. Yes, it will help with recovery, just like growth hormone does. So it's certainly going to have a more anabolic effect than the BPC 157, which is specifically really for repair. You could do them together if you wanted. How would you compare Nootrope and HGH to the other HGH products? That's what I'm scribed. So the best GH I personally have ever used is the Pfizer, the Genotropin pens. Crazy. I've also used Norditropin. I have used, what else have I used? I used the Eli Lilly one, Sereno. Very good. I would say, guys, that the Serostim, which is the most common, is kind of like, it's like the Toyota Camry of growth hormones. It gets the job done. It's most common. You see it everywhere. It's usually the best price point. Whereas like the Genotropin's like the Ferrari. So as far as Nootropin goes, I can't say that I've actually used it, but the big pharmacies, guys, the big pharmacies like Pfizer, these big pharmaceutical companies, they make really good GH. That's just the way it is. So, if you're getting medical grade from a doctor GH, it's typically going to be fantastic. Now, there are some strange, smaller companies out there. For instance, like the Zamactin that I used came from a doctor prescribed. I didn't really notice anything special from it Also was expensive. Omnitropin is another one who certain people are prescribed the Omnitropin. They think it's very good. I personally did not think it was as good as Serostim. So when you're getting it though, prescribed from a doctor, typically gonna be very good. Martog, you just have to, what you need to do is look at, this is the main factor, guys, when you're looking at growth hormone. What really differentiates what you get is the growth hormone itself. Is it 6 milligrams? Is it 9 milligrams? Is it 8 milligrams? Is it 10 milligrams? Is it 12 milligrams? Because people always say, well, I'm doing 2 units of growth, or I'm doing 10 units of growth, or I'm doing 4 units of growth. But what is the actual milligram of the medication itself in the bottle that changes what those units are? So 2 units of genotropin and 2 units of Serostim are completely different, because Serostim is typically administered, those boxes are 6 milligram breakdowns, where the genotropin is 12, the one that I had. Literally double the strength. So if you're doing 2 units of the genotropin, you're actually doing the equivalent to 4 units of Serostim. If that helps, I hope that helps out, you guys. Money for Nothing, Sting was singing in the background. Yes, I want my MTV. Was Money for Nothing about Nikki Sixx? That's crazy. He's not reading YouTube comments, is he? I'm just reading the comments and answering the question, guys. I might be a little behind because sometimes I get a little long-winded, as they say. But my aim is to read the questions and answer literally everything that comes on the scene. That's my goal. Yes, I loved when Hogan became a heel. He looked great. Big Daddy, good morning. I think a great posing song would be Judas Priest of Hellion. Listen, somebody may have posed to it. You see some crazy stuff when you go to a lot of regional level bodybuilding shows like I used to back in the day. Bullshit Kush says posing on R&B song looks gay as hell. Tony Freeman definitely practiced his routine in the strip club. Yes, he was very sexy on stage. You got to give it to Big Tony. Nothing cringier than a white dude posing in R&B music. Hey, you get that too. You get that too. Dom says it's all preference. I love R&B and watching that art of posing to it. Call me gay, I guess. Listen, guys, R&B, when you hang out at my house, if you watch the videos and stuff, most of the time you hear 90s R&B in the background. That's what Marissa and I listen to. Maybe you could call it baby making music, whatever. There's a time and a place for everything. I personally think it's boring to watch a big jacked guy pose to that, but that's the crazy thing about bodybuilding is you got Dom here, likes it. And it's just like the physiques. You have guys that like certain physiques a lot that other guys hate. Listen, there were certain people who really didn't like Branch Warren's physique. They'd say, he's short and stubby and da-da-da-da. And then there were people that were like, Branch Warren is the effing man. You know, very different styles of physiques. There were people who thought that Marcus Rule looked amazing. I personally thought Marcus Rule looked awesome. But there were other people that thought he was gross. And, you know, music and posing fall all into this subjective style of judgment that you get. Bullshit Kush said Victor Martinez is the only black dude who posed to Nirvana. Well, Victor is actually Dominican, the Dominican Dominator. But Victor is cut from a different cloth. Cool as hell. Cool as hell. He can do it all. I've seen Victor do it all as far as different kinds of music on stage. Let's go What up, everybody that's jumped on? I'm 45 minutes in, going strong, saying prayers for Diddy. How much are you benching today in deadlift? I do not deadlift at all anymore. It has no benefit to a bodybuilder. You can absolutely get more for your glutes and hamstrings doing other exercises. Yes, it's great for the erectors and the traps. It overall causes more bad than good. I loved it in my powerlifting days and early bodybuilding days. I think you can benefit from a rack pull, probably specifically for your back more. And for the deadlifts, I think an RDL far superior. The bench press, I loved it in my early years, but with the bad shoulders, I messed around with 185 with some bands about a week ago. It felt really nice. Felt really nice to have the bands on there, but I probably won't go any heavier than that because I don't want to risk any more injuries. I've got blown out shoulders and a pec tear. So I do really well with inclines, the Smith machine, dumbbell work. Dom Stormberger says, any Anadrol stories? Yes, of course. I used to love Anadrol. The only thing with Anadrol is that it really would mess with my stomach in the sense that I had a hard time eating on it. Also, and I'm not the only one who said this, I talked to Evan Centopani about this, pushing the dose of Anadrol, I couldn't really handle more than 75 milligrams a day, which is kind of a lot. They're 50 milligram pills, but listen, I have powerlifter friends that have taken 5 Anadrols a day, I swear to God. Taking more than that, I also found would give me serious anxiety. But I'll tell you, Anadrol will make you strong. Oh my God. The pumps on Anadrol. I remember doing arms one day on Anadrol, and I was doing alternating dumbbell curls, and I remember I'm curling. I actually had to stop. I was feeling my arm. I thought I tore my bicep, but the pump was just so crazy that it literally made me back off because I felt like my bicep was actually going to tear. That crazy as far as strength and blood flow from Anadrol. But I probably never touched it after the age of like 28 or 29 ever again. I will actually tell you that I've used Anadrol all the way up to a show before, keeping my fullness on one of David Palumbo's ketogenic diets. Imagine that Brazzers offered you $30 million for interracial scene. Your partners can be Lexington Steele, Mandingo, and Jason Love. So hold on a minute. So the interracial scene is a homosexual scene, or are we tag teaming a girl? Are we tag teaming a girl? If we're tag teaming a girl, I'm kind of torn. On one hand, I feel like I want to go Jason Love because I think he's got the smallest wiener of the other two. But on the other hand, I might want to go Mandingo just because he's such a small guy that perhaps they'd be distracted by how much more jacked I am than him and not pay as much attention to my penis. But if it's just a homosexual scene, I couldn't do it. 30 million, I can't go gay. Even for 30 million, I know it sounds crazy. 30 million's a lot of money. I saw an old video of Boston Lloyd talking smack about you. What was the beef all about? So, I essentially tried to cock block him and his wife from the very beginning because I was coaching Ariella. I had so much, I had so much excitement around her. I really felt like she could have been like a Dana Lynn Bailey. I think if she never married Boston Lloyd, and she stayed, around what I was going to do with her, she probably would have been as popular as Dana Lynn Bailey, because she was so sweet, so kind, really big heart, honestly, in my opinion, beautiful face, and just amazing genetics. The show that I coached her for, that she won, she was essentially on nothing at that point. I had to get her all everything. Her coach fucked her up. We had a really nice run. We worked very closely together. And I had gotten her sponsored by Champion Nutrition, because I wasn't even really full blast with Blackstone yet back then. Champion Nutrition loved her. And Champion Nutrition at the time, the guys running that were old school guys like me. And Boston Lloyd at this point, I had met him in the gym when he was like 16. And he already had gyno. He did not look good. And he came over to me, introduced himself. He was excited to meet me, blah, blah, blah. I had no idea who he was. And we started talking. He was telling me all the stuff that he was going to do, which he did do, by the way. I got to give it to him there. And I was like, bro, you're only 16. You got no business doing any of this. You already have gyno. You need to get off everything. Take your time. Wait a few years. You're going to mess yourself up. And he was like, you're wrong. He was mad that I said that. So when he started really coming out, now fast forward a little bit longer, when he started coming out about what he was doing, him and Ariella started talking, and they had like posted a picture together. And the guy from Champion Nutrition, I'm not going to say his name, was like, hey, what in the hell is going on with this? What is she doing? And I was like, whoa. Other people started saying stuff to me too. So I was like, listen, get away from this guy. He's bad news. He's going to screw you up. We just got you away from a druggy guy to clean up your act and really push your image. This is bad news for you. And she was like, no, he's really nice. He's really sweet. I think he's misunderstood. And so when it started to get more serious, I was like, look, I can't support a relationship with you and him. It's really against what I'm trying to do in my space. And back then, guys, you could not talk about gear the way that he did. It was really frowned upon by the judges and people in that space. I mean, look, you had all these guys back then that never, Cutler, Ronnie, whatever, no one talked about what they did. And he's blasting it out. The only other person that did it was Rich Piana, and he was also, it really was a matter of where did you want to go? Did you want to achieve internet fame, which is fine, because listen, there's millions of people that are trying to do that now. Or did you want to achieve bodybuilding IFBB fame? And they're very different paths. So me still being on that path, I didn't want anything to do with that. Now, if we're talking about money, what you could make as far as money, Rich Piana, Boston Lloyd, those guys were smart. Because there really wasn't money to be made unless you're the best bodybuilder in the world. So I said to her, I can't keep coaching you and working with you and helping with you if you're going to be associated with him. It's a bad look on me. And I'm already catching shit for it. I advise you to break up with him. She did not want to do it. I stuck to my guns, and that's it. But first, for starters, I would never say a bad thing about her. She was nothing but awesome to work with. And I know she's been through a lot with all of this, you know, to lose her husband, you know, have a baby and go through all this. It's heartbreaking. The last thing that I would want is for anybody to die. So he really didn't like that. Somebody sent me this video where he was like, yeah, basically said I was like a hoe who like had sex with everybody, but guess what, guys? That's awesome. If you ask me, as a man, when I wasn't married, before wife number one, doing my thing, hell yeah, I wanted to have sex with everybody. And I wasn't having sex with my clients. I kept it all separate. There's a lot of girls out there. So he wasn't lying, you know what I mean? Like, and I never, I never shied away from that. I would tell girls straight up, listen, I'm not going to be in a relationship with you. I have no desire. I'm chasing my business goals and my personal goals, but we can have sex and have fun. And there was a lot of girls that were down for that. Boom. And that was on to the next one, especially when I was traveling around so much. So, I mean, he didn't say anything that wasn't true as far as that goes. Oh, you're welcome, TF, on the cardio answer. Badabuco says, Peter North is still in good shape. I believe he's probably taking TRT, yes. How much money do you think that fitness bloggers make per month these days? The ones who have million subs, like Jeff Sade. I don't know, but they're not making as much as the OnlyFans girls. The OnlyFans girls are, a lot of these OnlyFans girls are killing it, making millions. God bless them. Dom says, Kurt Havens has a fantastic ebook on HGH for anyone looking to learn more about it. Kurt Havens, I'll have to look into it. But yeah, I'm a big GH advocate, guys. Big GH advocate. Vieira Cinto says, give us our king back, LGBTQ. It shouldn't be a flag. We want the rainbow. I prefer the rainbow, personally. I don't know what you guys think over the flag. I always respect the rainbow. A little bump and grind. Tell him the Cat Ramirez story. I'm trying to remember the Cat Ramirez story. Going way, way back. You're going way, way back. Wow, Cat Ramirez, that's a blast from the past. Loved Cat Ramirez. Very sweet girl. Pablo, you washing your ass? That's from Jerky Boys. That's real, real old school. RDL's the best, says Pablo. Yes, you have to execute it properly. A lot of people do it wrong. They just literally bend over and jack up their backs. What is your opinion of Chris Cormier? That dude had some presence and smoked weed 24/7. Listen, Chris is one of the greatest to ever do it. And again, guys, this is of me explaining the guys bodybuilding, they're genetically superior to everyone else. They can do things that regular people could never do and would never even look close to them. Chris told me this is how much of a freak Chris was. There was one year where his prep was off for the Arnold, and he came in, something happened, they screwed up with his diuretics, he came in holding a shit ton of water. So he literally took ecstasy, right? He got his hands on some Molly and went to the club and danced all night. Literally danced the entire night, came home, showered, and came back. They said he looked dramatically different. I think he wound up getting second or third. And he danced out like 10 pounds. He was still kind of like tripping from the Molly the next day. And I believe it. He's not lying. I know Chris doesn't lie about shit like that. But now, just to go on his physique, he literally had no weak body parts. Small waist, wide clavicles, full round muscle bellies. You know, unfortunately for him, you know, you had Ronnie Coleman. You know, there's a couple of guys in that time period that, you know, Ronnie Coleman stole a bunch of Olympias from because he was just on another level of freak. When you get a guy that has the superior genetics that the top bodybuilders can have, and you take them and you put them on a good diet and really intense training and gear, you can get a Ronnie Coleman. All of these things have to align. I never got out Paul Gillette, didn't win an Olympia. Melvin Anthony's posing back in the day was my favorite. Melvin Anthony, fantastic poser. Freakishly small waist. Paul Gillette, If I could say what held him back a little bit, his posing actually was not very good. Although that shouldn't be enough to hold you back. As far as execution of the mandatories, he was not as good from the back. And I really think that you win the shows from the back. It's just been proven over the years because, this might upset a lot of people, and I don't mean to upset anybody, but from the front, Nasser El Sanbadi and Paul Dillette, I would say both, you could say if it was only front and side shots, beat Dorian Yates. But from the back, Dorian was essentially untouchable. So you've got two back shots, one no matter what. That's the whole back of your body. Now you get into the apples and oranges of these side poses, and then of course Dorian had a level of conditioning that nobody else had. But if Paul could have had the Dorian type of conditioning, then maybe he would have been an Olympia. Paul Dillette was a very impressive bodybuilder, a true mass monster, incredible shoulders and arms and chest, tight stomach, good legs. He was not quite as good from the back though. Deadlift, RDL, weighted squats, bench press, weighted sumo squats. So Pablo, those are great foundation building exercises. I'll break down the negatives per se of each one. The deadlift is really hard on the joints and back, especially if you're executing it very heavily. And as far as the way that it puts muscle on the frame, if anything, I think it can blow out your core, which is counterproductive to bodybuilding. RDL, fantastic exercise. I think it's an amazing exercise for bodybuilding purposes. Yes. My only critique perhaps would be if done incorrectly, you could hurt your back a little bit. Weighted squats, I think the squat is a very good overall muscle building exercise, but it's not the best exercise for your squats. I think if you really want to load your squats, the hack squat is superior. And unless you're actually squatting with a closer stance and executing it the right way, you get a lot of hip involved, and you can actually beat up your hips with the heavy squats. The bench press, good chest builder, good shoulder builder, good tricep builder. The angle of the bench press, because it puts you in a position to externally rotate your shoulders or internally rotate your shoulders with a lot of weight and blow your shoulders and rotator cuff out. I think there are better options for it, although I really loved the bench press for years. Weighted sumo squats, very, very good adductor glute exercise, yes. I like variations of the sumo, like a deadlift, sumo deadlift also. But again, these are great strength exercises, a lot of wear and tear on the hip joint. So if I'm going to break down my lower body into training, I think a hack squat for quad is superior. The combination of what you can get with the RDL and a lying hamstring curl overall is going to be better for your hamstrings than a regular deadlift. And then as far as back goes, I would rather see you doing barbell rows, dumbbell rows, T-bar rows to get that thickness on the back than a deadlift. But that's my personal opinion. And I'm coming from a standpoint of I started out as a powerlifter, and most of my injuries came from the heavy powerlifting that I wish that I didn't do because they affected me in bodybuilding. Listen, guys, I did an hour on here, so I'm going to roll up out of here. Kevin has another black dude posing on Creed. Yeah, Kevin did a lot of rock in his posing too. Big shout out to Kevin, man. Kevin Lebroni was one of my idols as a young man. He was my favorite bodybuilder for years. Dom says, I've been running 25 milligrams of Androl for the first time, and the pumps are definitely vicious. Yeah, man, insane. And just on 25s, you'll feel fantastic. What was that interesting Dion back in the early 2000s that was strongest? There was a product, right? So the products that first came out, the Andro products back then, there was one called 1AD that was really good, guys. That one Anderson Dion product was very, very good. 1AD. There was another product that came out shortly after that called Methyl 1T that was very good also. But the original Andro products, They were not around for that long. Bolshoi says Jason Love does too many squats. Melanie says, I'm not sure what I wouldn't do for 30 million. Well, Melanie, listen, call me sexist, but it never seems to be that big of a deal for women to have to do the lesbian stuff. And I feel like, even though I'm not a woman, it's not so bad. You make out a little bit, you scissor a little bit. There's no penetration, you know what I mean? But for a guy, you got to have the penetration. I don't know. Didn't Carl Lenore have the same issue with you because of his girlfriend? No, me and Carl never had an issue. Me and Carl were always tight. Love Carl Lenore. Yeah, man. 1999 LeBron at that Grand Prix, amazing. Boston has delusional as big Remy. I remember you spotted Aaron. New guy called Boogeyman. Was impressed that you were right. He was a brick shit house. Oh, thank you. Yeah. Saw Flex Wheeler's interview where he stated that he helped Ronnie to hook up with Chad Nichols to start gear, help Ronnie. Yeah, actually, me and Flex had a talk about that where he was like, man, I essentially destroyed my own legacy, you know, by helping Ronnie be better. But Flex, you know, I will say he was always about like paying it forward like that. So when am I going on RX Muscle again? I don't know. You have to tell Dave you want me on there. I'll come on when Dave invites me. I love Dave. PJ, no deep down, you want to be passport, bro. Talk to your wife. Let's go. Let's start up a triple X company. What would we do? Count Ramirez got pissed at Aaron's girlfriend at the same time Amy called her accidentally black. Oh, okay. Now I remember. Yes. That was actually very, very funny. Good memory, Bolshoi Kush. Very good memory. Very good memory. That was funny. Moreover, what happened to Amy, actually? What do you think about Tom Platt's crazy sessions with Spotter in a quick phase where all these movements look gay as hell, especially pull-ups where the other dude is spotting him? I actually got in trouble in prison for telling the community one morning, or my buddy told the community that I was spotting him during pull-ups from the front. It's a hilarious story because he said this in front of 100 inmates in prison that PJ was trying to spot me from the front while doing pull-ups. I'll have to tell that story one of these days. I busted out laughing, but honestly, a lot of the inmates did not think that that was funny. They didn't like that joke in prison, but I am going to roll up out of here. I'm going to roll up out of here, guys. I'm actually going to shoot a fun... maybe I'll tell that video as one of my YouTube story videos. It's a good one. It was not expected. He really blasted me with that one. And he's lucky that I have the same sense of humor as him because he told it as if it was a serious story. At the morning meeting when you tell serious stories, he got me back because I blasted him for something else. But anyway, I digress. I am going to shoot a video today with Chris Luke. We're going to start doing some real training videos, guys. I know you guys want to see some training videos. That's my favorite thing to do is the training stuff. The supplements and the training is what I really want to do. So I'm going to train the shit out of him for this new series. We're going to see. We're going to finally get in the gym. I got the camera guy. I needed to find a camera guy. I have the pupil. And we're going to get Chris Luke fucking jacked. Excuse my language. I'm going to train him hard. We're going to do some basic ass shit like I used to do back in the day when I was putting size on. None of this fancy shit that you see me doing now because of all my injuries. How about making a video where you interview all yours and Aaron's ex-girlfriends and ask them where they are? That would be very funny. Although there's certain people on that list that I wouldn't even want to be out in the public. It would cause problems. And I'm going to end it on that. I love you guys all very much. Peace out. Bye. God bless you all. Have a wonderful day.